AEW and Tony Khan are facing major fan backlash after a tweet by Khan announcing a match at their upcoming Dynamite Maximum Carnage event this Wednesday in Cincinnati. It is a culmination of so many different factors. However, in this video, we are going to talk about why even AEW's core audience is fed up with one of the company's most bewildering and, quite frankly, unenthusiastic stories in a very long time. We're also going to talk about WWE going head-to-head with a major premium live event against AEW All In July. There's so much to cover, and we got you covered right here, youtube.com/Real Take Wrestling. Be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right, let's start with what is happening right now. AEW's core audience, and I am not talking about grifters online who make it their business to talk about how horrible AEW is and how horrible Tony Khan is as a booker, boss, whatever. None of that stuff interests me. At the end of the day, whether we like it or not, whether you like it or not, AEW is going to be around for a long time. AEW is going to be making money for a long time. They are just hitting their strides. That is just the business side of it. Accept it. It is the way it is. However, right now, they are at a crossroads because their core audience right now, the core audience that is watching Dynamite, the core audience that is still watching Collision, seem to be very upset with the direction the company is going in. And it has to do with this Death Rider story. I've covered this ad nauseum on my own, but now it seems like everyone else is catching up as well. Here's what launched it all. Tony Khan, president and founder of AEW, tweeted this match announcement for Maximum Carnage Collision next Saturday, which will be recorded at the same time as Maximum Carnage Dynamite this Wednesday. This Saturday, January 18th, 8 p.m., Saturday, AEW Collision, he announced this big 12-man tag team match. Moxley, Wheeler, Yuta, Claudio, Jericho, Bounty Hunter, Keith, and Big Bill all facing up against the Outrunners, FTR, Adam Copeland, and the challenger for the AEW World Championship this Wednesday, Powerhouse Will Hobbs. Now, you may be asking yourselves, why the hell are people upset? Why would they take umbrage with a random-ass 12-man tag team match? Well, here, my friends, is the issue. This announcement is not only the culmination, I think, of everything that has happened over the past couple of months, and, you know, one of the big things that people have been saying has been, let it play out. Let this Death Rider stuff play out. Let, you know, all of this happen and see where we are in a couple of months. And that was during the Wrestle Dream pay-per-view. That was in October. We are now in January 2025. And after months and months of this story, I think many of us can agree, many of us who prefer the style of AEW to other companies, as I do, I will be honest with you, I think we can all agree that this is not what this company is supposed to be. This is not what this company was built on, and it's not good entertainment. You can take all of the value of what AEW stands for, all that stuff away. At the end of the day, this is not good entertainment. And given the fact that Will Hobbs is facing Mox for the AEW World Championship, and they're trying to build this up as a big match live on Dynamite, and it seems like with this 12-man tag being announced, it just seems like they're going to continue on with this story with Mox as champion, which has been very polarizing. In the beginning, a lot of people, myself included, defended that decision because we felt like this was leading to something bigger. It was leading to something that was going to perhaps elevate the stars of AEW. Instead, it has done nothing but denigrate the World Championship. And I use those words very carefully. Jon Moxley is one of my favorite wrestlers ever. And I don't think what he's doing right now is good. Point blank. It is bad booking. This is nonsensical stuff. It feels like legitimately The AEW World Championship is being held hostage by this nonsensical story in the Death Riders. And maybe that's the point. Maybe they're getting way too meta with it. But at the end of the day, it's making people tune out. It's making people completely alienated from the product. And again, it's your core audience. You can say whatever you want about online, but you have people who prefer AEW, large influencers who prefer AEW, who are calling out how bad this story is. Because at the end of the day, it's not leading to anything. Jon Moxley at one point promised that this was going to lead to something, that there was something bigger. Nothing has happened. Nothing is advancing week to week. We are in the same place as we were in October. Jon Moxley is not cutting good promos with this story right now. It is not working. It is not connecting with your core audience. It is not connecting with the casuals. It is not connecting with anyone. It needs to stop. That is it. They need to pivot. I know you heard those words a lot, but from a business standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, whatever perspective you want to come to this from, they need to pivot. They need to change the directions. Tony Khan is in a fork in the road. He can either continue down this road of force-feeding us this story that nobody cares about, that nobody wants to see, that even your diehard AEW fans are clamoring to see end. And then the comparisons start with the likes of Vince McMahon. As far as a booker, as a human being, absolutely not. We all know the deplorable and disgusting actions of Vince McMahon, and I will not have anyone compare like that perspective. But as a booker, we got to talk about it. As a booker, we got to talk about Vince Russo in TNA. Not from the perspective of how wacky some of the stuff is and outlandish it is, but from the perspective of how it doesn't connect. That is one road he can go down. The other road is pivoting. And some of you may ask, how can they pivot? And I got a big one for you. This is going to shock everyone. Wednesday Night Dynamite, Powerhouse Hobbs should beat Jon Moxley for the AEW Championship. Oh my goodness. How insane is that idea? Not too crazy. Because right now, the one thing that is keeping fans engaged is hope that this story will end. And if you are able to do it in a surprising, massive way, where right now Will Hobbs has a lot of energy behind him online. Like, people are clamoring to see Will Hobbs be the world champion, which is something that hasn't happened before. You have a keyhole. You have a window right now to build a massive star, make a massive moment by having Will Hobbs win. Think about when Lex Luger, and I forgot, this was, someone had posted this online, so I forgot the account that did this, but they mentioned, or they shared a video of Lex beating Hogan for the WCW World Championship on a surprise edition of Nitro, having the entire locker room empty out and celebrate with Lex. They should do that. Because in one moment, you take away one of your biggest criticisms, one of the things that's dragging down the perception of your company, that being this Death Rider storyline that doesn't seem to be going anywhere and hasn't shown to be going anywhere. And on the other hand, you build a new star in Will Hobbs. And you know what? You pivot. That is what great bookers do. If Tony Khan wants to prove himself to be a great booker and not just someone who booked fantastic, some of the best wrestling for the past couple of years, he will pivot. And if not, then we got to talk about other things. Then we got to have a whole different conversation. But they have an opportunity. And it doesn't necessarily need to be Will Hobbs. That would be the preferred outcome because I think everyone's just looking for something different. We are at the point with AEW where we are looking for something different in that main event scene because right now what they're doing is not cooking. The stuff they did with the Elite last year did not hit. It connected for a little bit and then they didn't go anywhere with it. And my whole thing is what made AEW work back in 2019, 2020, 2021, there was a vision. There was a roadmap. It wasn't exactly certain what would happen in between, but Tony Khan knew who his first men's world champions were going to be. His first 4 men's world champions were going to be. He knew. He knew it would be in this order, Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page. Maybe it's time to pivot, reevaluate things, and start a new vision. That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm proposing. That is what I'm hoping, and that is what I think a lot of people right now are hoping. We'll see if that ends up happening. Of course, again, I want to be hopeful, but look at where we are. Look at where we are. Like, this is just, I don't think I've seen people this down about the booking of AEW. You've seen people drag AEW. You've seen a lot of bad faith people talk about how, oh my God, AEW dying. And like, it's all for clicks. They're just making shit up. But like, the booking right now, man, is probably at its worst I've ever seen it. Because, and this is coming off of months in 2024 where they were hitting. They were doing good stuff for the most part outside of the elite stuff, especially in the world title picture. But hopefully they change. We will see. One thing I can tell you is that AEW definitely needs to plan for this. It looks like WWE is counter-programming AEW's biggest event of the year, and they're doing it with one of their major premium live events in Saturday night's main event. If you look at the listings for WWE's PLEs coming up later this year, you can see for July 12th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday night's main event is scheduled to air on NBC and Peacock. This is in addition to another Saturday night's main event that's going to appear on the 24th of May, 2 months before, But the big story here is WWE counter-programming All In, not just with a house show, not just with an NXT show, but premium live event. We know the amount of effort they put into the first Saturday night's main event. We know the amount of advertising they're putting around the second return edition of Saturday night's main event. I can only assume that they are going to bring down the house. And by that, I mean throw everything but the kitchen sink at this show, because it is going head-to-head with AEW's biggest show of the year, what has been their quote-unquote WrestleMania, and one of the biggest matches on North American soil ever, Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada. It's going to be a wild time in July. That's all I'm going to say, boys and girls and everyone else out there. It is going to be a wild time. No, obviously, WWE has, counter-promoted AEW before. This is not anything new. However, to do it during their biggest show of the year because they can is definitely a power move. Some, myself included, will argue an extremely petty move, but they're being aggressive in business. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. WWE does not care about professional wrestling. They don't care about it. At the end of the day, it's about business. They have a chance here to do some real-time damage the night of AEW's biggest show of the year to that company when they being WWE, are experiencing some heavy growth in their business. This is the ultimate test. And it's going to be a test for AEW as well. Can they promote a show against Saturday night's main event that breaks through, that people are talking about, that people are interested in, that people are watching? It's going to be a big question, and it's going to be answered one way or another on July 12th in Texas at All In. I can tell you, I already plan to be at All In because I'm not going to lie to you. You could book Jesse Ventura against Hulk Hogan, which is an insane match that I would be hyped for. But you can book anything. I'm not missing Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega for the first time live in person in America. I am not missing Omega Okada 5. That is just not happening. So I know what I will be doing. That is not an endorsement of one thing over another, but it's just the truth. But it's going to be interesting to see because I think people are going to have completely different perspectives watching wrestling that night. And you know what? It's going to make for some interesting conversation the day after. But we will keep you guys posted. Maybe they move this event. Maybe they don't. Who knows? WWE is Sometimes they're just doing business savvy things to stay relevant. We will see, guys. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about WWE counter programming AEW's biggest show of the year. Let me know what you guys think about AEW's current booking direction. Do you agree with it? Do you hate it? Do you like it? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you're going to disagree, please disagree in good faith and with a smile on your face. Love you guys. Thank you so much. If you've tuned in this far, I appreciate you so much. Be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.